Any questions?
So in the center junction part, right, when you draw like 3 arrows, like one loop and then one going up or whatever, and then another loop, the center one, what does that actually denote? It just denotes the current is going that direction and that's it? Because you're only taking 2 loops when you actually figure out the equations. I'm just curious conceptually.
Oh, wait, doing the mesh analysis?
Yeah, like, well, what's the difference between the mesh and like the physics, like, or way, or whatever you were talking about? Just,
In essence, because if we do it the way that you did it there, and did you do the 3 unknowns?
yeah, ABC.
So if you got the 3 unknowns, one of those equations is the junction rule. If you took the junction rule and solved for one of them, substituted to the other 2 equations, you end up with a mesh analysis.
Oh, it's the same thing, like, it ultimately is the same. Like,
And so mesh analysis, you have one fewer variable, but conceptually you have to deal with the overlap. And
Yeah, it just looks like you're already kind of doing 2 loops when you start on the 3 arrows in the beginning, and then like you're only taking 2 loops to get the other 2 equations when you put them all together. So,
Yeah.
but that third one is just, it's kind of weird, because it's not a loop, it's just an arrow. But it's just showing the direction of current.
yeah.
Also, the semester set that was due today, can you talk over how to set up the second one, like where we're finding the circuit with the toy and everything, like,
Oh. All right, so
it doesn't feel like there's any sort of, standard way of doing these really, like,
my recommendation for you have a toy, a variable resistor, and 3 set resistors.
yeah, it was like 4, 8, and 5? No, 4, 8, 1, the toy was 5 internal resistance, there was a 4 resistor, an 8 resistor, and one other one, maybe a 2 or something, I don't remember. What was the other one?
That's fine, and the variable is between 2 values.
Yeah, and it was between 0.5 and 4.5.
The wide range there, and then some voltage. All right,
Yeah.
so my recommendation is whatever the voltage is, we'll just say 20 volts. I know that there's a limit to the amount of current I have running through here. So let's say that the current is, say, 1.7 to 1.
That's what it was.
If that's my power, it's easiest, in my opinion, if you put the toy in series with whatever else you have over here. You got the toy in series with it.
How do you know they do that?
This is a technique. There are many different answers that are acceptable. So if the toy is in series, then I know whatever current's running across the toy is also the current coming out of the power supply. So if that's the case, then using Ohm's law, I know the current coming out of the power supply times the equivalent resistance is equal to the voltage from the power supply. So that's 20, and then I'm going to target the middle, 1.8. I can figure out the equivalent resistance, which would be,
Well, but it already gave you an internal resistance, so what's the,
all right,
oh, sorry,
all right, so you get the equivalent resistance for the entire circuit. So 20 divided by 1.8, we'll just say 9 for this. If that's 5, then I know that everything else has to add up to 4. So this way, as long as this is around 4 equivalent resistance, then I'm going to be good.
Oh, okay.
So now it's a matter of playing around with these. Well, 8 can't be in series because it's too big, so it's going to have to be in parallel with something. 4 is also going to have to be in parallel with something. So I would just start out playing with, I got a 4, and I got a, wrong symbol. I got a 4, and an 8, 2. What does that give me? Well, hopefully I am less than 4. And then, so 1/2, I will be less than 4. So let's just pretend that's 0.4.
Put the variable one like outside of that then,
And
or
then-
gets to the toy.
Yeah, and so this, if I made that 3.6, assuming that number's right, if I made that 3.6, and then it's done.
Okay.
Anyway, some people will put the toy in parallel with something else. I would say most of the students who do that get the current coming out of the power supply to be within this range, but not the current across the toy. So just beware that if you want to put this in parallel with something, you have to worry about the current splitting and how much is actually going across the toy.
Mm-hmm.
And some students will make a careless error and come out with something that would blow up the toy, cause it to catch fire.
I feel like I did it right.
Okay. Other questions?
Is 20 that charges the battery? I don't remember seeing 20 on
I just made up something on that. I was going off Phil's memory and just thinking it's a combination of Phil's memories and,
there. I think it was 10.
I never said 20.
yeah. Yeah, he did 4, 8, I think 2,
Yeah.
the 5 was him, yeah, variable resistance, I think.
I was right, no, it was
The current, I
It
made
was
out.
somewhere.
the 4, 5, and 8, and then 5 internal, but it's okay, it's fine.
Okay. I was talking about process there,
Yeah.
not wanting to spoil the answer. Before I forget. Other questions? What's the last thing we did?
Is it not still on the board?
Is it?
Oh, that was just
The
probably
vote.
the first part.
We did the emotional EMF. It seems like we ended on lead. And this is right.
Yep.
We done inductions yet?
Oh, thanks, Bob.